Hello, this is Thomas, N1SPY, and I have another project. I picked up this Nixie clock from a store, and it looks like it's going to be using a couple Nixie tubes, which are basically vacuum tubes with little numbers inside of them that light up based on a clock event. And I'm just going to be going over some of the specs of this right about now, and then I'll see if I can solder in the Nixie tubes and see if it works. So this right here looks like a 12-volt supply. You plug stuff into it and it kind of powers the entire thing. And that right there is an ARM processor. It's basically a scaled down processor of a computer and can only really perform one function at a time, and it's really good with clock-based events and GPS. Speaking of GPS, this entire system can pick up GPS position or clock and use it to power itself. Not exactly power itself, but use it as information. Right here, looks like a 250 volt little supply there, and 250 volts is about the light up voltage of Nixie tubes. So that's most of the main elements. Right there is a quartz clock, and it's mostly used to keep the clock system going. So yeah, that's all the main elements, and the hardest part about this is probably getting my hands on a couple of Nixie tubes, but once I do, I'll be able to solder them in easily and see if it works. This here is a Nixie tube. They were manufactured in the Soviet Union and China during the 50s, 60s, and 70s. You can see that it was taken off of existing equipment, probably in a Soviet nuclear bunker, because these little things, the elements down here, are bent. The Nixie tube works because it has numbered elements inside of it, and each element is cut out into the shape of a number. If you put electricity in any of these little elements down here, they will light up its corresponding number. If you put electricity into the 1 element, it will turn the number into 1, the 2 into 2, and so on. So I'm going to use this Nixie tube here to put it into the control board. These Nixie tubes with their numbers are actually quite handy. They can be used for clocks or calculators or pretty much anything. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the control board and see if I can make a clock out of them. As you can see, I've started putting together the Nixie clock by putting these Nixie tubes inside of them. The pins on them are really short because they've been removed from existing equipment, and they're really bent as well, so they're kind of hard to configure to be able to put into there. So it's probably going to be a while before I can get these all into there and even think of soldering. So I'll see you when I have them all in. It was probably one of the hardest parts trying to put the Nixie tubes into the actual circuit board, because their little elements down here were in every direction, and we had to re-straighten them and stick them into the holes. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and start soldering, but before I do, I'm gonna put some tape around them so that they don't flop out of place when I'm trying to solder them. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll see you when I start soldering. Almost there, just a little more work. I've gotten these 2 down, just need to finish the last 4. Finally, I've soldered every single tube in place. It was a little bit of a challenge because I'm left-handed and my hand shakes a lot, but I got it, and I think I got it pretty good. So I have a little 12-volt power supply here, and I'm going to go ahead and plug it in and see if it works. Nice, and it does light up. So it's counting a little bit of time. As you can see, we have the seconds here, the minutes here, and the hours there. And sometimes the numbers start dancing around, but I'm pretty sure that's because it isn't really programmed, so there's a little bit of work to do. Well, I finished the clock and I've made it so that it actually shows the time here. And now we have one piece of Cold War technology nuclear bunker stuff with others with my old Collins radio and a little Kenwood receiver here. So the clock is working great and is fully functional, and now I want to do some more stuff with Nixie tubes. Thanks for watching and have a good day.